and girls. Your attention, please.
Hello and welcome back inside the Park for May for podcast number 963. I'm gonna switch it up on you this week. Gonna do a little bit of a TPF news lab. Gonna separate the signal from the noise this week for you. We're going to try to make the news make sense. That's kind of what we try to do anyway. If we're doing that, obviously, I got to go out and get my co-host. You know what that means. I have to go all the way to the right coast of our nation, nestled near our nation's capital. You know your lover, the lovely, the redoubtable. Grace, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Todd. How are you doing?
Yeah, just hanging in there, Doing well. Grace, I got a good idea for if you're new to the podcast and you're watching
that we should only ever stay in standard time, right? That's your good idea.
It is a good idea. I'm telling you. All of you out there listening or watching that have pets, this whole daylight saving thing, that doesn't mean anything to them,
No.
So, and I got to say, because the clocks here just switched back on Sunday, and I got to tell myself my bedside table clock I forgot to switch. So I woke up this morning, I looked over and it said 5:10, and I thought, oh yeah, well it's really 6:10 because time and I need to get up. And I got up and I getting ready, and the dogs are all looking at me, oh okay, we're getting up and everything. And then I walk into the room and get some food for them. I look at my phone, it's 4:10. Nice.
They're like, well, okay, human, we're rolling with it.
Okay. We're going to eat. I guess we're going to eat. Why not?
I guess that's what we do now.
Yeah.
See, again, this is the difference between dogs and cats. Dogs are like, well, okay, this seems weird, but he's in charge. Whereas the cats are like, why are we up?
Right. I know, totally.
I guess you're getting food for yourself.
I'm
still sleeping for another hour.
And there's always that gap when I talk into like Talk Sport Radio in the UK or anything like the race weekends. There's always that gap of a couple of weeks where they switch, we don't, and I'm -5 hours now, not -6. Confuses me and it confuses them, and it's crazy. But
it is crazy. I mean, I do international conferences, right? And stuff like that, and it's just like, I don't know. It's going to be this time in this place. I don't know what time that is for you. I hope it's not. But, inevitably we have somebody from California here, and then somebody from Australia, and then it's like, who knows?
Yeah.
We'll just move the time around, and maybe Australia can join us, and maybe California can join us.
Right.
And otherwise, we're all just going to have to read the notes because nobody can schedule this meeting.
Somebody record the Teams meeting, please. I missed it.
I don't know. Right. So.
It's crazy.
But standard time. It's back.
Standard time.
It's good.
There you go. Yeah. So my good idea is, if you're new to the podcast, you're watching, hit that like button and subscribe. That's right. I mean, that seems like a good idea to me anyway. And if you're new to the podcast and you're listening, how about giving us a good rating or share it with a friend? Share it with a friend. Friends.
That's right.
Share it.
Friends.
So, hey, this week I thought we'd do something different. So, Grace, on race weekends, Paul and I are always, ranking teams and drivers and all that good stuff. And I got to thinking, maybe on these off weekends when we're talking about the news, maybe I should start ranking the news, right?
Okay.
And ranking the news stories. And so I come up with this sort of signal score rubric, right? 0 to 10. And I weighted these stories, and then I had the AIs go in and the AIs.
And the math.
The maths.
Or the freedoms.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes, the F1. I watched the F1. Are you a fan of the F1?
I
Yes.
love the F1. Yeah.
So anyway, I thought, here's how I'd rank them. So, I'd rank them on authority, on novelty, and on a momentum, right?
Okay.
So I created this little rubric, had AI go out, search the headlines that I put in there, and it came back and ranked them. So now, not only are we going to cover the news for you this week, but we're truly going to act like a real TPF News Lab. We're going to rank these stories for you. And at some point, folks, we are going to render a TPF Stewards ruling on each story after Grace and I break them down. So that's the format. We thought that would be fun. What are we going to talk about tonight? Well, I'll tell you. We got a legal swing at the FIA election in this episode. Also in this episode, F1 defends its world feed after driver heat. And a court revives the darkest scandal of the 2000s. You know what I'm talking about there. And Ferrari's lead man gets engaged. So we are scoring signal, arguing both sides, and telling you what to watch before Interlagos happens this weekend. So let's separate the signal from noise. We'll start off at the top with our first story. The first story happens to be, really the headline is that the FIA election faces a legal challenge. Laura Villars takes rules, the FIA rules, to court. The signal score on this, a 10 out of 10. Very hot topic right now. Just a briefing. Grace, a riddle briefing, a reminder for you, if we will. So Swiss-French racer Laura Villars, you realize she was a candidate for FIA president. And so we talked about it a couple of weeks ago where, oh gosh, as it turns out, the only authorized person from South America that could be a vice president in the cabinet happens to be Bernie Ecclestone's wife, and she's already spoken for by Mohammed bin Salem. So
imagine all of that.
Yeah, there's no option for any candidate because there's no one else in South America that qualifies, right? So, MBS is like, oh shucks, darn.
I guess I have to be president again.
I guess I have to be president for another 4 years.
The things I do for this sport.
I know, the sacrifices I make, you know. Yeah. So, Laura's not happy with that. She's calling BS on the whole thing. So she filed legal action in Paris challenging the FIA presidential election rules after being unable to assemble a required slate of regional vice presidents. The December vote currently leaves incumbent MBS, Eddie Everywhere, unopposed, and there is a hearing set early in November. And the critics say that the statute structure blocks challengers, while the FIA says that the process is just following its published statutes, right?
So wait, so they're going to have the court case in November, like now?
Yeah.
November.
Right.
And the vote is like in December in like 5 weeks.
Yeah. So
how's that going to work?
Well, I know, and that's part of my con position on this is, what that's going to do. I guess let's just break this down. I was thinking about Grace. So on my pro side of this, I think, look, you and I think we're pretty aligned on that. This is pretty much BS. And
I mean, you have to at least pretend you have a process.
Yeah, right. I mean, this
You're
is
not
silly.
even pretending you have a process, right?
No,
right.
It's just
you
silly.
You should be able to have a full slate of candidates if people want to run again, and have the chips fall where they fall.
Yes. So I'm thinking that a legal check on the governance here could actually restore some credibility to the FIA where it's seemingly lost it. And even an injunction on this would force much overdue transparency, because I think MBS, the day he was elected as president, started working on consolidating his power and control in the FIA to ensure a long stint there. So I think this is a positive, and net positive, and I'm certainly in the pro camp for this. I hope Laura takes this whole thing down, just crashes the house of cards down. On the con to your part, though, Grace, so close to the election, mid-cycle, that'll send shockwaves. And it does kind of risk paralyzing the whole decision-making ahead of the 2026 rules, causing a lot of confusion. And I got to think some of these smaller clubs that are all in because they get money from the FIA every year, they're all in on this. MBS is their guy. It could, cause confusion, a little concern. They could circle the wagons on this thing. So it could throw a spanner in the works here. So I agree.
All right. So I just want to say that my first statement is neither a pro nor a con, but both statements can be true. Mm-hmm. It can be what is published in their statutes and be complete junk. Right?
It can be both.
Right? So why it's like that the story kind of poses it like, well, that's what we said we were going to do. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? There's lots of things I say I'm going to do. There are lots of things that end up in the law. We change them, right? So I think both are true. And I think we have to keep that in mind that, yes, you may be following what you put in your statutes, but this is junk.
Right.
How did we get this far that you're now decided, oh, right, now 5 weeks before the vote, 6 weeks before the vote, now it's going to go to court? Why did it take this long?
Right.
I just think this is like some sort of, I don't know, a bunch of clowns. What is the Ferrari pit wall also running the FIA elections? What's going on here?
I don't know.
Strategy 7. I don't know.
We'll get back to you.
D.
We'll get back to you. All right.
We'll get back to you. That would be great.
Right.
To question.
Right.
Question.
Yeah. We'll get back to you on this.
Oh my gosh. So I don't know how it's gotten this far. I don't know why it's not come up before. But yes, you should be able to run other people in an election of any sort. I'm like, we all belong to like, sports teams, HOAs, whatever. You have to have some way of electing people. I don't understand how the FIA continues to run this way.
I don't
it's
either.
Just like, whatever, oh, I guess you can't run. We've rigged the system in the most obvious way possible.
I know.
Right? It's Bernie Ecclestone's wife. It's not even like, oh, it's just Susie Snowflake, and she happens to be the only person that you could put on your cabinet, and she's already given her vote to somebody else. It's Bernie Ecclestone's wife. Come on.
I know. I know.
This is a sham.
It's like
here?
getting to assemble your cabinet, and you get to Scotland, and it's Toto Wolff's wife. Well, isn't that convenient? It's
yeah, right. Like, what?
Huh?
I mean, come on.
Come on.
I mean, MBS is probably going to win anyway. That's the other thing too. I mean, that's
right.
always what's going to happen anyway. So shouldn't you at least pretend? At least pretend for our sake that you're legitimate in this process. But you're not even doing that. And so,
I know.
Boy, that makes this really hard. It
does. It totally does. So I think we need a TPF stewards ruling on this one. Look, I think the entire thing's a healthy stress test. As they say, sunlight's always the best disinfectant, and they need to shine a lot of sun on this. If the court orders some tweaks, the FIA should immediately publish a clear nomination roadmap for, as you said, any potential candidate. I agree with you totally. If you've got, if Grace, if you wanted to run for the FIA president, there should be a clear nomination. Grace should have put in her application. She could campaign on it. And there shouldn't be some stickler rule where Grace has to pick a cabinet from South America and, by the way, all the candidates are there. So I agree with you on that. I think that's crazy.
I mean, I watch the NBA. This is a real problem right now. I mean, not for president's, reasons, but your sport looking legitimate is important, right?
Right.
And so it's a real paramount going on over there, and I think that it's not really what we want.
No,
so,
I agree. I totally agree.
Keep it above boards. Look like you're above boards.
That's right.
This is ludicrous.
So I don't know. Things we could, here's a couple things. If hearing the outcome and any interim measures will be interesting to see if that comes out. It'll also keep an eye on the member club reactions. If the court comes out and says, well, we think they ought to have a reassessment of this and blah, 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 blah. And where there's only one candidate, or where there's only one person in a country like Brazil, all the candidates should be able to select that person. And so I think that'll be interesting. The member clubs, how they react on any sort of decision will be interesting and perhaps telling. And whether other sideline candidates submit like amicus letters or anything like that. So I think that will be interesting if they join in to the lawsuit as well, other candidates. So time will tell. But that's a big deal. It really is.
I think so. And even if it doesn't impact this round of elections, it will impact in the future.
I agree.
So I think you should still go forward with the court case, even though I have no idea how they're going to have anything resolved in 6 weeks.
Yeah, right. I don't know how, unless there's an injunction. But
right.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. All right. That was a 10 out of 10. Important one. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody loves him, some Eddie everywhere. Everybody loves talking about MBS.
Especially that Lewis Hamilton. He loves them.
He loves MBS, I guarantee you this holiday, a Harry and David fruit basket is heading MBS's way. It says, Love Lewis.
That's right.
Guarantee it. The other story this weekend, the headline, really, F1 defends its world feed after Alonso and Sainz slammed the celebrity-first coverage. We talked about this.
right?
A couple weeks ago, but now F1, the F1 has responded. This ranked an 8 out of 10 for all of you out there in the social medias world. And just a quick brief. The drivers, Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, as I mentioned, they criticized the recent world feed's choices, for example, like in Singapore, for cutting away to the wags and celebs during on-track action. So F1's broadcast boss defended the approach and said the feed is not a driver mouthpiece and they're balancing racing and context for younger audiences, Grace.
Sure, totally reasonable response.
Seems reasonable to me. Why not? What's your pro and con on that, Grace? Do you have one?
So, do I have
Do
one?
I have one?
Do I have an opinion?
Of course
right?
you
like,
do.
On this show, right?
Yes.
So I think, if there's nothing, fine. If there's nothing interesting going on the track, because all sports ebb and flow, right? So that's fine, I guess. If you want to show what's happening in the pit box, you want to show somebody's parents, you want to show the fans reacting, that's fine. I think the point is, if you are showing something else and there's something on the track I'd like to see, show me what's on the track.
Yeah.
What you do with the something else is up to you. Show that when you want, but not at the stake of watching what's happening on the track. Now, F1 does have a problem that the other sports don't have, in that they don't have commercial breaks, right? The action doesn't stop. They do have commercial breaks, but right. And so, because that's when you would see it again in like basketball or something like that. They're going to show you who's at the Knicks game, but it's coming in and out of commercial.
Yep.
And so it's not when action's happening on court, because the game hasn't started back up yet. So F1 does have to balance that, because they don't have that same breakage in action that stick and ball sports have. But, people are going to be mad if they find out later, oh, right, I could have been watching this thing and you didn't show that to me. And if people really... Who's watching? Why are you are you watching the Knicks games because you want to see, Ben Stiller sitting in the crowd? No, you're watching the Knicks game, right?
Right.
If you want celebrity sighting, read People magazine. Like, there's a space for that. So is it kind of cool? Oh, yeah, it's kind of cool that, oh, look, Serena Williams is in the Ferrari pit box or whatever. But that's the end of that novelty, right? I don't think you need to dwell on it. And I think Formula One dwells on it way too much. And I just... there's too much. So I think that's not a pro. I don't know how. I'm not pro of this idea, except that if there's a lull, sure. Because what else are you going to, right? You're going to just show us cars, right? So fine. If there's a lull, that's as close as I can get to a pro. That's when you can show it. I think their argument is there was something else I could have been watching, and that's what you showed me. That's the crux of it, not that you're showing me celebrities.
Yeah.
To me, I think the con, though, is what fans want this? This is what we talked about 3 weeks ago.
Right.
You never listen to the fans. How many times have you not listened to us? You never listen to us.
Right.
New fans, old fans, any fans, you never listen to. But now, suddenly, we're the patsy for this ludicrous thing that you want. What? What fans? They don't want this. Celebrities have always been a part of Formula One. That's not something new either, and maybe it is for other sports, but celebrities have always come to Formula One. The Formula One is, Bernie Ecclestone, right? Like, I'm here to sell Rolexes. I'm here for the rich and famous. I'm not here for you people out there.
They love the F1.
Right? I just think so. I think some part of it is weird to me, too, that it's like celebrities at Formula One races are not new.
No.
It's always been there, but if you are going to cut to somebody, I just want it to be interesting. So I think of MotoGP, and I brought this up before. Like, when we think about the MotoGP race in France, and they cut to Johann Zarco's parents as he was about to win, it was great because it was in the moment. They were reacting to it. You felt them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Or Marc Marquez's dad, like, he's reacting in the moment. I think in Formula One, they all see the camera coming. They all hold a very still face. And so why am I looking at this person? They're not reacting in the moment. There's no joy I'm getting out of this because they know you're standing there.
Right.
So it's all the more reason why I don't think this is really doing it for anybody.
I agree. I was trying to think of a pro side of this, and I thought, okay, is it possible that context shots attract new audiences, and the world feed is really serving multiple markets here, not just to purists like us? Yeah, that's possible. But, then I was thinking, okay, but green flag cuts during live battles, that just breaks the whole storyline. They need to create some standards and stop the glamour shots mid-fight, and I think that is what the criticism really is. It's like those shots of you got their battling and you've got, Charles Leclerc and you got, Oscar Piastri's within a second or DRS, and then they switch to the garage and there's this blonde gal and she's just staring at a monitor and just looking, and she looks over at the camera and looks at it. It's like Liam Lawson's girlfriend.
Okay.
Okay. What? So why are we doing that? Let's go back to the, Oscars and DRS zone here. Let's go. So yeah, I kind of feel like the stewards ruling on this should really be action first. Adopt a short no-cut window around active battles. Put the celeb shots in areas of neutralization, like if there's a virtual safety car, or to your point, if there's some action going on that's dramatic and you have some feed or some shots of Lando's parents, or Oscar's parents, or, you got something like that, not just a shot of Piero Ferrari just looking around in the back of the garage. I mean, if you've got something like that, Nico's wife and daughter, or something like that, and they're all excited, and that makes sense because it is contextual to the battle that they're showing on the screen, and you're seeing, like you said, the family's reaction in real time. That's contextual, and that's all right. But just the glamour shots of the women in the back, and
I said this 3 weeks ago. I'll say it again. If you just want to see attractive people, why are you sitting through a 2-hour race for that?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't understand what new fans are you bringing in? It's a 2-hour Formula One race. You're going to be bored. Even if we took Singapore, whatever race frame by frame that had the most pictures of celebrities in it, it's still going to be an hour and a half of cars racing. Like, if you want to see celebrities, this isn't the 2000s. You can see them anywhere in any mean you want. You don't have to watch a Formula One race because maybe the British royalty will be there or something, right?
You can see a whole lot of them these days, like Sydney Sweeney this past weekend.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to watch Formula One to see Gordon Ramsay. He has like 7 shows on all the time now, right? So that's the part I don't get why it's bringing in new fans.
Somebody's always losing, Grace.
Always. And I just think, you're not I don't really understand that argument. I think it's missing the point, and I don't understand what new fans you're bringing in.
Oh, for crying out loud, get an Instagram account.
Right, if you're just watching this to see celebrities, you're going to be bored.
Yeah, it's very boring.
This is not the place to do this.
Hey, so, what I also thought I would do for this podcast is I'm going to start doing some polls on our X account. So if you don't follow us on X, you can go at The Park for May, and you can find it. I'm going to run a few polls on these podcasts when we're news labbing. And so look for this one. The first poll that I'm going to put up after this, and I'll try to link it in the notes, but is during green flag battles, no cuts to VIP/WAGs, yes or no? That's what I'm going to ask. That's first poll. You can share your opinion. Just go to X and look at our account, and you can vote. So there you go. First vote of the podcast. Here's another story. Speaking of Liam Lawson's girlfriend. Mm-hmm. The headline is that the FIA clears Liam Lawson in Marshall near miss in Mexico. Marshall protocol is now the focus. This is a 9 out of 10. Got a lot of people talking about this one. A lot of people talking. A lot of people saying. A lot of people. You know what they were saying, Grace? They were saying it was
controversy.
It was a controversy. That's exactly what they were saying. So after Mexico's early race scare, the FIA came out and cleared Lawson, citing that the telemetry was showing that he was at the appropriate speed under double yellows. But all the criticism started, and Mexico's ASN jumped in and said, whoa, that was Lawson's fault. It was a driver. It wasn't our fault. But that criticism was quickly swatted down by F1 and wasn't upheld. The issue now shifts towards the communication latency between race control and the marshal posts. So that is the brief. That was the headline. That's what everyone's been talking about this week. Here's the pro out of that thing. Exonerating the driver is correct. That was correct. All right. And they really need to tighten up on the whole process here, as well as I kind of feel, no offense, Mexico, but I think it's kind of poor taste to take your plight to social media and start blaming the driver. I mean, if you were concerned that it was the driver's issue, then you should have talked to the FIA or Formula One about it. But going out in public and say, well, yeah, we looked at it. That Liam's crazy, I mean,
it doesn't even make sense.
No,
right?
It's not a good move. Not a good look. I don't think.
Yeah, he was just driving where he wasn't supposed to be on the track.
He's driving, he's swerving, he's crazy out there. Yeah, and then I'm thinking, okay, is there an alternate side? Can I have some empathy for this? And I was thinking, all right, well, if radio commands, I think at the crux of it, Grace, is if radio commands aren't acknowledged with like a read back, then humans stay in the firing line. I mean, you end up with the Marshals playing a game of live Frogger out there.
Right.
And that's a system failure. And you could see how, I mean, if I'm trying to defend Mexico's ASN, you could see how they would be frustrated if they felt like operationally they were doing the right thing. It was race control that wasn't giving the order, or, they weren't giving a read back, or who knows. But, you could see where the communication maybe broke down. Clearly it did on track, but maybe even between the two operational sides of this. I don't know. Your thoughts?
They need to get it together. This is not their first race.
This isn't their first rodeo.
Right? It's not even their second rodeo, right? Like, get it together. They have how many races? It's not as if this is your only time. There has to be some sort of like, like if you came to visit me and you were driving a rental car, you would know how to drive, even though you were in a different state. Right. Why? Because we have some agreements between the states about how stop signs look and what yield signs mean. And you stop at a red light. Like, Stuart, there's some commonality in this job, regardless of what kind of sport you're currently marshalling for, that we all follow. So I don't understand how you can just say it was the driver's fault, because everybody sort of has an agreement about how this works. It's not as if any of them, this is their first rodeo at this track. So I don't know how it's not just like, oh, our bad. And especially because the marshals are going to lose. I mean, it's like being a pedestrian, right? You can be in the right, but if you step out and that guy goes, you're the one that's the pedestrian, right? Like, not the truck. So I think that unless you want, like you're saying, right, live action Frogger, which nobody wants and the marshals don't want, get it together, figure out what the problem is, and don't let it happen again. Because,
I know.
If this is happening at this track, what other issues might be, happening at other tracks? Maybe there's some, and it could be something like you were saying, like somebody just isn't, repeating back or isn't acknowledging over out, right? I heard you, Todd, over out, right? Something so that they know what's happening on the track. That's the whole point of, walkie-talkies or whatever systems they're using. So nice try. Blame it on Liam.
Nice. Yeah. That damn Liam. What was he thinking?
I mean,
it's, and I was thinking about this. The issue about marshals track is a very serious thing. And whatever you do not Google the Kyalami race in South Africa in the 70s, because that's horrific, with marshals being killed on track by being hit by cars at speed. So there's a person there and then just vaporizes. Not good. And it is a serious issue. And Paul, very strong on track safety and track operational process, and even when I was visiting him out in Sonoma when he was leading the Audi driving experience, Sonoma and that track and the safety measures they took, even for those kind of events, not races, was very serious about a hot track and those kind of things. And I get thinking about, if you think double yellows. So a yellow flag and then double yells, slow down, prepare to stop, right? And that's okay. And then I got to thinking, maybe in F1 it would make sense. I think of Jules Bianchi with the tractor on track and Marshals and stuff. And I thought, maybe I know this is probably unorthodox, but maybe they should introduce a new flag, a yellow/black with a black stripe through it or something in that sense of something visible that says POT, personnel on track.
Right.
Because it's one thing if you go through and it's double yellows. Okay, I'm going slow and prepared to stop. And I'll be prepared to stop if there's a car in the wall or whatever, or stalled or whatever it might be. And so you're prepared to stop. But maybe if you have a flag that signifies it's not only yellow, but there is personnel on the track, that's going to instantly tell a driver, oh, crap, there's like people and tractors and moving people around. I really need to watch it here. Maybe that would help in those cases. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, Grace.
No, I mean, you're right. Absolutely. Whatever the indication is, again, like the difference between a stop sign and a yield, right?
Yeah.
Like if a double yellow means assume there could be people on the track, right? Like what you have to have some way of communicating that with the driver. Like we're saying, it's a hot track. There are marshals on here. Maybe there was an accident, be prepared that things are a bit, unknown right now.
These days you can do it on their dashboard. You can just light up a orange light or something,
right.
That just says, hey, there's tractors and or people on track,
right.
Something to, so I don't know. I think, out of all of this, all of the conversation now has gone back to a procedural issue.
I mean, what else could it be?
That's where we've ended up. It wouldn't surprise me if there isn't some sort of short procedural note that they released before Las Vegas. I don't know, but I think that's an issue. I don't overplay it. When I originally saw it, I don't know if you saw it, Grace, but when I originally saw it, I saw Liam's onboards. And I thought, oh, wow, there were some people up there kind of running across, and that's what I saw. But then I saw a fan's video from the stands on the other side of the Marshals as Liam was coming into, and it was a lot closer than I thought it was. Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah, they were a lot closer, which is really serious, to say the least. So, and, imagine how horrible Liam would have felt if he'd have clipped a leg of one of them or something. That would have been terrible.
And I don't know, this is slight aside. Humans are bad judges of that. Like, again, going back to the apartment, right? Like, it could be that the person thought, oh, I can clear this.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't, right? You're really bad at judging that. And you're going to be using your pedestrian street logic, not your marshaled and F1 track. I mean, as someone who owns an EV, they don't make any noise. People are often in places where I'm pretty sure if my car made more noise, they would not be there, right? And so I think as an EV driver, that's something I've had to become more aware of, is that people step out like on streets, like step out from around their car and like step in front of me because they didn't hear me, because people aren't used to looking, right? They're just used to hearing.
Right.
And they didn't hear anything coming down the street, so then they stepped out from in between two parked cars, and I'm like, I'm right here.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? I think it takes I wouldn't want somebody's bad judgment as a pedestrian to be carried into this marshalling. And so I guess it's just now something that I think about more, because my car only makes noise if it's backing up. It doesn't make it at low speed. So like driving in parking lots and stuff like that, I have to be much more aware, because pedestrians aren't being aware.
Yeah.
They were never being aware, but now they're definitely not being aware.
Right.
Because now they can't hear me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so true. And, the Marshals, they're awesome and sacrificing that time and the great work they do. And I always just feel horrible when one of them gets injured. I think of Canada several years ago when a JCB backed over one Marshal and killed him at the end of a track. And I just felt horrible for him, obviously, his family, loved ones. It's just terrible. Was it Monza? Where was it? Was it JV had a wheel come loose, go through the fence and kill Marshall? Several years ago. Yeah, it's just
This is not a.
Yeah, it's the Marshals need to be safe, and
it's not about blame. It's about making sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Let's see. Next, well, this is a 10 out of 10. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is all eyes on this. The headline.
The controversy of controversies.
Well, this is the ultimate
controversy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the headline is, Moss's lawyer alleges, quote, deliberate concealment by Ecclestone and Mosley in Crashgate. Signal score out of this, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1,000 out of 1,000.
Yeah, pretty much.
1,000 out of 10.
A quick briefing for those new, or if you missed the headline. But in high court hearings, Felipe Massa basically took F1 to court. His counsel claims that Bernie Ecclestone and the late Max Mosley knew of the 2008 Nelson Piquet Jr. crash order and concealed it. Massa seeks, are you ready, Grace? £64 million in damages, while the defense argues that the case is time barred or statute of limitations, and that Ferrari's own errors cost points. And maybe that's true because, Grace, something else happened in Singapore 2008 with Massa. What could that have been? It was my favorite. That was
the pit lane. I don't know what happened.
That was back when it was awesome and we used to have refueling.
Yes, refueling.
And he took off and ripped the whole refueling rig hose off and dragged the refueling hose all the way down pit lane. So
I do want to say, again, this is another one of those, like, both of these can be true.
Right. That's true.
Right? Why is this being posed as if Ferrari's own error cost points nullifies the fact that maybe Bernie and Max knew about this and didn't tell us? Both of these things are true, right? Like, they don't negate each other. Nice try.
You could see the defense, showing the video of Massa dragging a large fuel hose down pit lane, saying, they did that. That's what ruined the race for him. So sorry, Felipe, that hose dragging incident that we've all got a lot of laughs out of everything. Yeah, you're going to lose your 64 million, seeking 64 million because of that. But you're right. Both are true. I agree.
Right.
So I don't know. If they can prove that there was concealment, it certainly validates Massa's damages claim that they knew it. Mm-hmm. It does force the question, though. Is this just monetary damages, or should Felipe be crowned champion in 2008, which is what he's leveraging? I don't know that that's what he's asking, but the impetus was his original lawsuit said, I would have been the 2008 champion had this not been concealed and had they done what Ecclestone said in an interview allegedly, that they probably should just canceled that race and points.
Yeah. I think what shouldn't be lost in this story is that the only reason we know about Crashgate is because Jr. was unhappy.
Yes.
Right? So if Renault had signed PK Jr. to the team, we may never know. Crashgate may be an unknown thing. It would have never shown up in F1 the movie.
That's right.
Unknown. So the fact that somebody knew about this at a high level and just didn't disclose it is an issue.
Yep.
Now, so I think that it's important to push this case forward because if Bernie and Max were concealing Crashgate from us, that's important for us all to know. Is it about rewriting the 2008 championship? In my opinion, no. But that's not the reason to push this case forward.
Yeah.
They're not going to go back and rewrite history in that way. They're not going to suddenly say, guess what, Felipe Massa, you're a champion. That's not what's going to happen. But this should still go forward because that is unacceptable that Max and Bernie knew about this. And we may have never known, except that Nelson Piquet Jr.'s father is Nelson Piquet.
Yeah, that's right. And I think you're right, Grace. I think the courts will be very wary about rewriting championships here.
They're not going to do that.
And it does seem that the damages hinge on causation and statute of limitation at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure this court case will reap rewards for Felipe. I could see it. It's like a lot of things in life. You end up in a compromise or reaching détente, you know. If Felipe and his attorneys make a compelling argument and have evidence that it was purposely concealed, and had it not been for Nelson Piquet getting, you know, upset about not being re-signed, I think I could see some sort of détente being achieved and them throwing him a bone, you know, saying, "Hey, yeah, this is kind of it was a, you know, it was a low point in Formula One history. You know, here's a few quid for the trouble." But I don't see them taking Lewis Hamilton's championship away and giving it to Felipe Massa, because, you know, that's how it all ended up. But if that's the case, you could go back and try to litigate a lot of championships over a lot of things.
That's right. And I don't think we want to do that. I mean,
No.
right? Like, you know, Lewis Hamilton's already had one championship taken from him. Do we need two? I don't think so, right? Like,
Oh,
let it be.
that was good, Grace. Yes, that was good.
Michael Massey already did the damage. Do we also need this? No, we don't. So I think so to me, I think that the headline is going to be like, well, they're not going to give him the championship. Why bother? There's a lot of reasons to bother. And I think the biggest pro is discovery. I said this when this case was first announced. The more this can go
The
through
discovery would be funny.
the discovery process, the better. Because what other stuff might be, you know, dug up in this process of going through what Bernie and Max knew and didn't tell us that we would want to know, right? That are important.
And
So
you know, Bernie,
keep it going.
who's he's got to be close to 100, but he's been using this card since he was in his 60s. Like, oh yeah, when they asked him about the interview, he goes, I don't ever remember doing an interview with them, and I don't remember saying any of that. I'm just an old man. What do I know? I don't remember doing any of that. You know, that's always been kind of his shtick.
It's every old man's argument, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, I don't know. I'm an old
I
man.
don't know. I'm an old man. What do I know?
Yeah, right. I still think the best defense is always going to be Flavio Briatore's, who speaks perfectly fine English until it's something he doesn't want to answer, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Well, I don't speak this language. I don't understand what's going on." As if we don't know who you are, sir.
I know. He gets into this broken English, Italian. Nobody understands at all what he's saying.
We know who you are. Come on.
It's so
I
true.
love it. But yeah, so I think the more, what else could we know?
I know.
And
I think at best it'll be financial, not supporting, and at worst, I don't know if they can prove that with beyond a shadow of a doubt. But we'll see.
Yeah, but that's not great. That's not great because again, and I that's why I say it's not just that Junior was unhappy, but his dad is who his dad is.
Yes.
Right? Like if his
dad,
and
to tie that together,
somebody else's kid, maybe we also wouldn't know.
Yeah, to tie that together, that's also the father of Max's girl.
Right.
You know.
Because I still think those two, like, this is the greatest family reunion ever. The Jos Verstappen and Nelson Piquet together as a family. This is great. This should be its own, like, Housewives of the Pit Lane or something, right?
Housewives of the Pit Lane.
Who doesn't want to watch the drama of those two spending time together?
I know that would
Put
be
them in
good.
a car and send them to a vineyard together. I love that.
I bet Max. I wonder what Max really thinks about Junior. He probably likes Nelson, but I wonder what he really thinks about Junior.
Oh,
that
the
would
Brolo.
be kind of funny.
That would be great.
Yeah, it would be funny.
Great. That's a question nobody's asking, really.
Yeah, but should be.
Sure. But should be.
Yeah.
I agree. You know what? I take it all back. Earlier when I said I don't care about celebrities and you should just read People magazine and you're going to be bored by Formula One if you're going to sit there for 2 hours just to see Serena Williams, I take that all back. This I would be interested in.
Right.
You could cut to this story. I don't care what's happening on the track.
It
I
doesn't
would
matter.
answer that question.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Oh,
Cut
that's
to
so
Nelson
true.
Piquet Jr. in the Red Bull garage, like, yay!
Right. Yay!
Yeah, that I want to see. I want to see.
Yeah, that would be good. The other big story of this, and no surprise here, the signal scores 10 out of 10
I mean, it's adorable.
It sure is. It's the headline was Charles Leclerc is engaged, and this, which basically means a quick culture hit on this story. This was big. Charles Leclerc announced engagement to Alexandra Saint. How do you pronounce her last name? Milou? 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 Hello?
I don't know.
She looks like a charming young lady. By Instagram with photos including Leo. Milou?
Yes.
Milou?
He was in charge. Leo was in charge.
Leo was in charge. Yes.
It's his engagement.
It might as well be. Everybody
He's
loves
the one that
Leo.
orchestrated all of this, and the human just rode his coattails.
I know, because look, we're all Formula One fans, and all the dog-loving Formula One fans were gutted about Roscoe, and so we needed to fill that cuteness gap, and it's Leo. You know,
right?
I think even Lewis went over and gave Leo a little love. So it was great. Leo's cute as can be. So anyway, big news. It's certainly a human interest story. Broadens F1's sort of appeal, shows the human side. Who doesn't like this feel-good story? And Ferrari's brand halo benefits, right? So it's kind of like, hey, we're Ferrari, and our big driver just got engaged. Look at us. Huh?
Maybe we'll help him win a race. I don't know.
Maybe.
Instead of, shooting him in the foot all the time. Maybe.
Right. What do you think of us?
Lift and Coast has been canceled for Brazil.
Yeah. So, they get the kick out of that. On the flip side, then it kind of just percolated on and on and on, and all my social media feeds is like, it's like, okay, all right, I know he's engaged, so okay, keep it tight, folks. Don't let the culture drown out the sport here. Besides, I mean, here's my, you know what? I'm going to do a poll on this for you guys. All right. So again, go to X at the Park for May. I'm going to run 3 polls this weekend. All right. I told you the one during green flag battles, no cuts to VIP wags. Yes or no, right? The next poll I'm going to run is FI election. Should the VP slots be open to any club nominees? Yes or no? Okay. And finally, I'm going to poll this because what do you guys really think? Is Charles the kind of guy that buys a real diamond or a lab diamond? What do you think?
I think it's a joint decision, and it may not have been a diamond.
Was it not? It looked like it.
I'm sure it's actually a diamond, but I don't think that it's just like up to him.
Well, yeah, it may not be. She may have said, I want that one. She could have. She could have. And he could have said, okay, that's an 8-carat diamond, and I can get a lab diamond for a fraction of that, and it's perfect.
It was a pretty elaborate setup for a surprise, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, right?
I had no idea.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, and you should know, right? Nobody should really be surprised. And I'm okay. So people who are thinking about getting engaged, who aren't engaged, you should have this conversation. People have opinions about how they want to be engaged. And so Flip and I, we were serious. I was like, nothing in public. Like, it can be at a park or at a zoo or something like that. That's fine. No jumbotrons, no center court, none of that. That's way too public. I don't want that. So I think it's important that whoever proposes to whoever, there's some discussion about what you would like and what kind of ring you want, or, do you want maybe you just want a band. Maybe you don't want
That's what I wanted. That's my band.
You can have a diamond, though, if you want time.
Hey, here's a heartwarming story.
Yeah.
Okay, so my band is here, I'm showing it for YouTube. My band that's all I wanted, just a band.
Yeah.
It's white gold and yellow gold. Mm-hmm. Okay, why is it that? My dad, who's no longer with us, I also have his wedding band, which is white gold and yellow gold on my right hand. See? So it's very special to me, and that's just what I want. But I got to be honest with you. The lab diamonds are awesome. The fluorescence, their clarity, and they're. I mean, you can't really tell. They look great. It's not like cubic zirconia. It's a diamond. And it's awesome. So I'm not knocking. I'm just saying. Yeah. Do you think Charles kind of hip? He's with it. Do you think they did a lab diamond? Because a lot of people are these days doing lab diamonds. I mean, if I was going to go buy my wife a diamond today, I'd probably buy her a lab diamond. Yeah. Right.
I think. So I just think. I'm just saying. I'm pro conversation. Don't just do these kinds of things without having a conversation.
Okay. So did you and Flip have a conversation on your ring?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
okay. So you had see, my wife, we had the conversation too. She wanted a princess cut.
Yeah. See.
And it's not popular. Nobody wants a princess cut, but that's what. Well, I've been married 26 years, so. Okay. But that's what she wanted, and a plain band. That's all she wanted. Yes. She didn't want baguettes and anything like that. Just wasn't her style. Yeah. They're pretty, but not her style. So that's what she wanted, right? So you had that same conversation with Flip. Right?
Yeah, what he actually did was he went through a ring app, right? And he would just periodically be like, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And it was any mix of just a solitaire versus like the craziest thing you've ever seen.
Right.
So that he could kind of gauge my reaction.
Yeah.
Constantly, we'd be waiting for the waiter or something like that. And he'd be like, what about this? Oh, so that he could get my instant reaction. Yeah. So that's the ring that I got was actually the one that I gave the best reaction to. And I didn't even remember that happened because there were so many of the, what about this? What about this? What about this? That I had no idea that that's the one I actually picked. So, but it's important. Please don't just surprise people. This is a big investment for most of us.
Yeah.
This is a story that you're going to carry as a couple for hopefully the remainder of your lives or whatever. So just talk to each other about it. You know what's going to happen. It shouldn't be a surprise. That's going to be bad.
Right.
You should know it's coming.
Okay,
and don't do it on a Jumbotron unless they want it. Don't do that.
All right. So I have, for those of you on YouTube, I have pulled it up, and I'm going to show it to the camera. There's Leo. See Leo?
Yeah.
And there is, I'm going to try to zoom in here. This is that's a big rock.
Yeah.
That's a big rock, Charles.
But it could have been like you were saying, it could have been somebody's, or there could be a reason. Like I have a friend that she has, she actually has a blue stone because that's what Princess Diana had, right?
Yeah,
and
sure.
that was, a big thing. So you know what I mean? You never know what's
this
going on
could have been Charles's great aunt Flo's, right?
That's right. I'm just saying.
Who knows?
Us people, us regular people, especially, just talk to your partner. Don't act. This is not a place to just act.
I think this is the lesson out of this story.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's So anyway,
that's my take home.
That's your advice for all you youngsters out there thinking about getting engaged.
This is a very different podcast now all of a sudden, but I don't know when it became dating.
We're giving marriage advice.
I'm just saying that different people want different things,
they do.
And people have different ideas of what they want.
I agree with you 100%. It is intensely personal because that's your wedding ring for life, right? And so it's intensely personal, and you want to make sure you get the one they want. Right. So anyway, congrats. Yeah. But get back to racing. We're done with that. Move on.
Get to Brazil.
Get to Brazil. Go.
We don't need your team. They're gonna shoot you in the foot. Yeah. So right, we felt good, and then it's gonna not feel good. So we'll just live in this for this week, Todd. Just live in the good.
Well, then I was thinking, okay, I'm in marketing, so sales and marketing. So I thought, okay, hey, why not? They should double down on this. Charles should double down on the whole thing. Get sponsorship crossovers. Include Leo. Get dog food manufacturers to come in and sponsor. Right?
Listen, if anybody's going to have a jewelry sponsor, it has to be Hamilton, right?
Well, true. Yeah. And what with the IWC watches? Clearly, he should be a Hamilton.
Right.
He should be wearing a Hamilton. Right? Yeah. Right? It'll be interesting to see how the Apple era broadcasts handle these sort of tasteful personal life beats, when they come up. It's like, hey, Max, had a child, had a daughter, or Charles gets engaged, or Nico Hulkenberg's daughter, who I just think is charming as can be.
So
what
cute.
a sweetie. What a sweetie
cute.
she is.
Who doesn't love that?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. As a father of two daughters, I'm just, she is awesome. Yeah. So that's good.
I think that's, but again, I think this is where I agree that you need some human interest. Right?
Yeah, these are great stories.
This is a good kind of human interest, right? It kind of warms our heart. They're people We know who they are. It's nice, right? Like,
Right.
And I also love that Carlos Sainz was like, what was the question? Like, I love that your friends are trolling you, even though we all know exactly what the question was.
Right. Yeah.
Today
it's great.
something happened. What happened? Right.
Yeah.
Like I love that there's a little humanness between the drivers as well.
Yeah,
that,
that's
like,
great.
Why? What happened, Charles? I don't know.
Yeah, it's also kind of what I like about this crop of drivers with Max and Lando and Charles and Carlos and those guys. You know, they all kind of get along with each other and have fun chatting with each other and chatting each other up. So I kind of like that. You know, it hasn't always been that way in Formula One. It's been, you know, fierce rivalries and you know, they didn't talk much. But this current crop of leaders really do kind of chat quite a bit, and I like to see that. But anyway, so there you go. That's signal scored on the stories. That's the stories. That's what we think about them. Okay. Rulings made, decisions made. We just try to make sense of them, right? But we can't get out of this podcast yet, Grace. We're not bailing out yet. You know why? That's right. It's time for Alvin's Cats. That's why. Good grief. Did you think because I mixed up the podcast cadence and we're doing a TPF news lab and ranking news stories that I'd forget about Grace's favorite Alvin's Cats? Of course not. What do you got for us this week?
It's what I bring to the show.
It is what you bring to the show.
Some laughs and some Alvin Cats. So first, I really want to talk about in Mexico. First of all, we all know how much I love that the cars come up through the stage, and I don't know why more tracks don't do this.
Yes.
And I love that they put the sombrero like on the car, like on the camera thing on the hoop. So I love that, you know, here's Lando rising up and the hat's just sitting on the car, and it was great. I love this. I mean, it certainly is great because it was Lando, right? But I don't know why more tracks don't do this, right? Like, it's legendary, kind of like Monza's, like, you know, over the fans kind of thing.
Yeah,
right? Like this rising from the track. I love this. So, but what I also loved from Mexico was that they made Fernando Alonso the mask, right? The wrestling mask, and the luchador. I was like, the word didn't there. Give me a second. Luchador mask.
Yeah.
But. And it had, have you seen this, right? It had like a visor that flipped down on it, right? Like, so it was like a luchador mask, like you would expect with a visor on it. Every time first of all, I love that he was like, he wore it all the time. Like, I love that he was either like fully committed to the bit or really enjoyed wearing it. But then every time he wore it, it totally looked like Ace from G-Force, which is, I know, an old school call-out cartoon, but it's kind of like Voltron. But it was very much, the visor made it feel very like Voltron G-Force to me, as opposed to a luchador mask.
Yeah,
but
it does.
It's fine. But I love that you just see him in pictures, and he's like talking to the drivers, and he's wearing this mask all the time. Great. I love your Alonso. You're great. I love it. Never stop being you.
I know.
I did also, in a little bit of Halloween news, I don't know if anybody saw, but I liked that Lando Norris went as Fabio Quartararo, and Fabio Quartararo went as Lando Norris for Christmas.
Yes.
Halloween, right? Like,
it was great.
They'd switched jerseys, uniforms, you know, a while ago.
Lando's wearing all leathers.
Yeah, it was great. I just thought it was great. You know, and there's a picture of him with, you know, El Diablo written across his butt. It was great.
It was great.
I was like, I love every bit of this, and that hopefully it could just continues this like cross marketing between these two sports, and that there's some amount of people that are like, why does it say the devil on his butt? Like, they're very confused by this. Right. What is going on here?
Right.
And I did love that because to me, my response was, it appears that he's wearing a shirt. So this is clearly not an authentic Fabio Quartararo.
That's right. You got to be shirtless.
Like, you have to be half zipped and shirtless.
Sometimes a necklace.
Yeah. And so I was just like, well, if you're wearing a shirt underneath that, then you are not actually Fabio Quartararo. What I think would actually have been funnier is, I don't know if you ever go to the Jersey Shore. I'm sure other places have these, but have you seen those, like the airbrushed, like it's a man's torso, but he's like all ripped with these abs, and they have one with like a woman and she's welling down in a bikini, right? But it's an airbrushed t-shirt.
Right.
I think that would be what was actually funnier if he wore that.
Oh, that shirt under the leathers would have been hilarious.
Right. Like,
because Fabio's he's pretty fit, you know. He's kind of ripped, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of like the tuxedo shirt, right?
Yeah.
I think it would have been funny if he would have been wearing the airbrushed
that would have been
shirt
good.
from the Jersey Shore underneath the Quartararo leathers.
Yeah.
to prove the authenticity of this outfit.
Right.
Very good. So I thought that was great. Good shout out for Halloween. And then, so I remember there was a while ago when Charles Leclerc first started racing, and I really try hard to pronounce people's names the right way. I'm not the only person this way, but names are important, and I want people, if they have a shortening of their name or if their name is pronounced, I really want to try my best to pronounce it, especially because I have a pretty simple, straightforward name for most people. But it's important. So, everybody kind of pronounced Charles Leclerc differently, and it really bothered me because I'm like, what is his name? I'd like to call him that. I understand that people that have names that are pronounced different ways, usually they're just like, I don't care, which is how Charles Leclerc was. He was like, I don't care, just call me something, whatever. Yeah. I get it that, how a Monegasque would pronounce my name is going to be different than how a Brit would pronounce my name. I'll answer whatever, it's fine. So I've come across this problem with Isaac Hadjar as well, because you hear both. You hear sort of Isaac Hadjar, and then you hear Isaac Hadjar. And
Isaac.
I'm like, so would Isaac Hadjar, right?
Yes.
Like, I'm like, so which is it? What does he want? What am I supposed to be doing? So we find an interview with him, and he says the same thing. I get it. I pronounce my name this way. This is how everybody calls me, but I get it. The Brits see that word, they call it Isaac, and I answer to whatever. So then, of course, I'm like, I am never going to remember, because now I have it like encoded as Isaac, and it should be Isaac and not Isaac, and this is just flip without missing a beat goes, just think of like Sleestack. That's how you remember, like from
exactly.
Land of the Lost. That's how you remember it. I was
right.
like, great. So now I'm just going to think his name is Sleestack
Hadjar,
and I'm not sure that's going to help anybody. That is just now complicated the thing altogether. So much like Junior's name became, because there was already a Junior, that's Dale Earnhardt Jr. So you can't just call him Junior.
No, you got a Junior.
In Formula One, he's Junior. So now we may have Sleestack Hadjar, because that inevitably is going to happen when I try to remember how to pronounce his name the right way.
I love Sleestack Hadjar.
Which is another old school.
It's like the same with MBS. It's Mohammed bin Soleim.
Yeah.
Soleim. I've heard a million, and I apologize. I don't know how to pronounce it. That's not my culture. It's not my language. I don't know.
No, right, and
that's why I just call him Eddie everywhere.
There you go.
I don't
know.
I do my best. Although the Leclerc thing is still lingering, and I've actually seen him say, with interviews, how you pronounce Leclerc, and I've heard him say Leclerc. So look. I think that's Isaac's way and Charles' way of saying you're making too big of a deal out of it. I'll answer to
again, it's Tara Tara. I've had Tamara Tamara, right? Like I think, anybody that kind of has a name that can be pronounced multiple ways usually is just like I don't know.
It's Tara Grace Tara. Or Gross.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine. I answered all of that because this is a problem they've been having since day one of their life. Right. By the time we're meeting them at like day, they're 20 years old, right? Like they're like, I gave up a long time ago.
Right.
I gave up at like 7.
It doesn't bother me. When I worked for a Belgian company, being over in Belgium, they don't pronounce my name, like I do or what I grew up in, and I get it. It's their language, and it doesn't bother me. I don't care. But anyway, so you ready for some no-shit headlines?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. All involving one Bernard Ecclestone.
Because that man cannot get away on this podcast.
I have 2 no-shit headlines for you. Okay. The first one is Bernie Ecclestone. I'm joking, folks. It's Ecclestone. We know. But Grace and I, many years ago, love how the British, shorten like Ecclestone, or Silverstone. We love that about the British. So we just started calling him Bernie Ecclestone. Opens up on raising daughter 70 and son 5. As ex-F1 boss 95 reveals who his only 4 friends are.
What?
There's a lot of numbers in there. There's a lot of opens up about raising sons is I only have 4 friends. It's like you make the guy sound senile in your headline.
So is it that he has a daughter who's 70, a son who's 5, and he only has 4 friends?
4 friends. I think that's what, and he's 95 years old, by the way. That's all in the headline. Well played.
Wow.
Yeah, that's quite a. That's
All right, I'm impressed. I'm impressed that somebody was able to push all that into one headline.
They got all that crammed in. That's an SEO genius right there. I have to add.
I'm not
really searching that domain authority there.
I would think more the story is that you're 95 and your son is 5.
That's I think maybe the bigger story.
I mean, I don't know.
And your wife happens to be the only legit FIA eligible vice president.
I don't know how that didn't make it into the story.
Yeah, it should. Right? It should have been in there. If that, I don't know who that author that Anthony Chapman, get your crap together. You should have included that in there too. That his wife is the only eligible FIA president from Brazil.
That's literally burying the lead, right?
Stalling election. His FIA election stalling wife. That should have been in there.
Is it the mother of the 5-year-old? Because that's how you can work it in there,
yes,
right?
You could work it in. Yes. You could work it in there. So, and the next Ecclestone headline is
I can't imagine 95 and a 5-year-old. I mean, just
don't ask.
Children are a young man's sport. Yeah. That's really
don't I know it?
I'm like,
don't.
The older I get, I'm like, have them in 20. I don't know why.
I don't even want to go down that thing because then there's imagery and that's just not what I want to get into.
I don't want that. Yeah. But yeah, you could have worked that in there.
Yeah.
Work harder next time, sir.
Right.
Okay.
And a follow-up piece, Bernie Ecclestone, 95, selling 2 yachts after flogging a 500 million pound car collection as ex-F1 Supremo, quote, clears out his life. So there you go. I would say he sold all of his. He did have a choice car collection. I mean, it was epic. So he sold all that, selling yachts. I'd say he's getting his wife pretty much all set up.
I mean, what am I leaving my family? Nothing.
Memories.
This?
Yeah, memories. A cat tree.
What am I leaving?
The Burj Khalifa cat tree.
Right.
That's it.
What are you getting? You're getting nothing. You're getting robbed by family.
I have a bunch of guitars I'm leaving my daughters, and they're like, okay, well, we don't really play guitar. I guess we'll go hawk these at a pawn shop. I've told them no. Right? I even went in and write little slips how much they're worth. You know.
That's probably a good idea because Flip has a bunch of synthesizers. I'm sure it would be the same.
There you go.
You know that like.
There you go.
You know, it's a something, you know.
How much is a Roland D50 for? What? How much is an M1? A DX7? How much is that? Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is also how I know he's not in earshot of this because right now he would be yelling at me the exact names of the synthesizers that he has.
Super Jupiter. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a necessary bit of information that I can share. But I think that's a good idea because I have no idea, and I would just be like, he loved them. He told me about them a lot. I don't know how much they're worth.
Yeah. He needs to write that down for you, you know, because you have no idea.
Yes, yeah, you know.
You know, so anyway, all right. Well, that does it for this podcast. That's what we think about the news. That's how we rank the news. It's how we scored the news. See, we separated the signal from the noise. We could have talked about all kinds of crap this week, but we didn't. We went in, we ranked the top stories by authority, novelty, and momentum, and now you have the most pressing, most talked about, most novel stories of this week all at your pocket. So at the water cooler tomorrow, you will be able to weigh in with confidence, both pros and cons on any of these subjects in total confidence that you are in command of the subject and won't your coworkers be impressed. So all that from a free podcast. What else do you want from us?
I don't know, people.
I'm asking. Well, all right. Hey, huge thank you to our Patreon supporters. We could not and would not do this podcast without you this weekend. We have the Brazilian Grand Prix from Interlagos coming up. And it means between the lakes, and a favorite of ours, which of course means, and I apologize, folks, we had some issues with Paul's microphone, and it's a little boomy sounding, and I apologize, and thanks for folks, I knew it too, but it's the only recording I had, so I posted it, and you guys are like, that was frustrating, and I get it, I totally get it, so Paul and I are working on his microphone situation, so we'll fix that for next week on the race review, but we will be back again next week to talk about the Brazilian Grand Prix. Only 1 point between Oscar and Lando. It is time to bring out the fisticuffs. Pirelli are bringing harder compounds here. It should be interesting. We'll see how it goes. And we'll be back next week. So in the meantime, this is Todd, a.k.a. Negative Camber, saying so long, Grace.
See you in a couple weeks.
I'm trying to say goodbye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.